So the recording has been started. So here on the left hand side, Nishana, you can see this. This is quick access toolbar. So the quick access toolbar, why the reason why we call this as quick access toolbar is because it can be quickly accessed no matter which menu you are in. You are in page layout menu, even though you are in formulas menu, you can see that the quick access bar doesn't change itself. So this might change. The ribbon can change, but the quick access toolbar doesn't. So therefore we call this as quick access toolbar, and it's static. I'll be using these words static, dynamic, and so forth, just to make sure that static means it doesn't change.
Doesn't move,
Yes, doesn't
change.
change with any of your clicks. Dynamic means it changes with any of the clicks or options which you choose from. So
Okay.
here in this case, if I click this, now if I want to customize this, for instance, this is save, save as, we have an open folder, we have undo and redo. These are the casual options which you can see in almost every Excel. But now you need to change this. If you want to change this, then you can change this by clicking here, this button, which has which has the customization of quick access toolbar. And you can check any of these in order to get those elements in your quick access toolbar. If I click new, you can see that the new icon, the new option is being added. If you add email, an email option is added. If you don't want this, you can just uncheck it. So these kind of buttons are what we call it as toggle buttons. Toggle buttons. So toggle button is nothing but the button which is the same for turning it on and for turning it off. So it's like a switch. So the button is more like a switch. So if you touch it, it will turn it on, turn itself on. If you touch it again, it will turn itself off. So that's a toggle button. So with these toggle buttons, we have all these kinds of buttons here, but there are more functionalities added to it. If you want to add more functions to this, you can add it by going to more commands, which is here, and then you will be coming across this panel. Now this panel will have all the quick access functions on your right hand side and the functions which are available in Excel on your left hand side. So here you can see that we have certain elements here. So I'll just drag down. You can see that we have certain elements here, but these elements are not all the elements which Excel offers. If you want to see all the elements which Excel offers, then you need to go to popular commands, just click, and then you will have the section called as all commands. Click there. So you have the all commands option. In your all commands option, you have all the list of commands which are there in Excel till date. So all these commands are hidden. So therefore, they are being classified in all commands, and not all commands which are not so useful. They are which are useful and which are they just rule out the unuseful functions, and they have sorted it in popular commands. So if you want to add any of the commands in your quick access toolbar, you'll be selecting first the genre of the commands. Now in this case, I will be selecting all commands as my genre, and then I will be clicking any of the functions. And then if I want to bring this in my quick access toolbar, I will be clicking this button, which is add. So this itself is evident when you click add. The options with the options and functions which you see on your left hand side, they get added to your main quick access toolbar. That being said, we have the same way we can remove it. As easy it is to bring this in, we can also remove this from the quick access toolbar. So how do we do it? It's very simple and easy. You just click and then you press remove. So that's how you remove the quick access toolbar, functions from the quick access toolbar. Now there is one more function in this. Instead of just moving things around, you can also interchange the places where they belong to. For instance, here we have redo, undo, and then we have open, save, and save as. Instead of all these, I want save and save as to be in first, and then undo and redo at the last. So if I want this to happen, then I will be selecting any of the option, clicking this button, which will move up the function to first. And then second option as well, I will be just using it to move it up. And when I'm satisfied with my layout, I will be pressing OK. And when I press OK, you can see that we have save, save as, and all the layout, whatever we have designed here in our more commands option panel, that is being reflected here as the same. So that
Yes.
was about quick access toolbar. The same way we have all these menu bars. So these menu bars are home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view. These menu bars are dynamic. So what do you mean by dynamic is that you can change anything and everything within the ribbon which it has. Each menu bar will have its own distinct ribbon. Now, this section which you can see, which has these differentiated groups in it, they are all called, they are all together called as ribbon. And these ribbons are being divided into small blocks of functions. These blocks of functions are called groups. So your menu bar will have, I'll just set the hierarchy. So your menu bar will have something called as groups, sorry, ribbon, and your ribbons will have something called as groups. And in your groups, you will have functions. So these are functions itself. So you have functions. So the first comes menu, and inside menu we have ribbon. Inside ribbon we have groups. These are the groups. Tables is a group. Illustrations is a group. Add-ins is a group. Charts is a group. Function and functions are these small buttons which are there inside the groups. So that was with regard to your menu tab. So all the menu tabs are having two functionality. One, they can be visible in your viewport. We call this the whole screen which you can see now. They are called viewport. So this can be seen in the viewport, or you can hide them by just double clicking. So if you double click on something, they will be hiding themselves. If I double click on the menu, you can see that from the viewport, the toggle option, it's toggling. It's basically a toggle button. If you double click this, the ribbon will collapse. If you double click this, the ribbon will pin itself on the viewport. So this is your viewport, and inside the viewport, it will be toggling. When you double click it, it will toggle up to pin and to unpin. So that being said, when you double click this, it will
Um,
unpin itself. Yes, please. And if you
yeah.
want this,
There was a pin option before, right?
yes, there was a pin option before as well, but this option is available if you don't want to pin this. Like for instance, you
Mm,
just want to see it temporarily. You don't want to see it for a longer period of time, but for a shorter period of time, you just want to use that function, and then you want this to disappear. So if you want that
okay.
to happen, then in this specific stage where you have unpinned your ribbon, you can just click and it will be temporarily be showing up. It will not be permanent. It will just be a temporary uh, it will be a temporary ribbon. Like for instance, if I want
Okay.
to copy something, I'll be just using this, and then when I click here, it will be gone.
It's gone.
It will get itself hidden. So that is happening because I have not pinned it. If you want this to be pinned in the viewport, then you need to select it, and then you can either double click it, or you can just click this button which is here, which is pin the ribbon. So you can use any of these functions. You can either double click it, or you can use this function. I usually convey my students to double click this in order to pin, or double click again in order to unpin. So this is a very easy way of doing so. Most of the students, they find themselves easy to do this, and they find themselves comfortable as well in order to do that. So we have this in our mind, and we have the ribbons and all the groups in which the functions are there. So all groups are distinct from each other. If you can see in home tab, now the groups which you can see, they are all exactly the same as they are since 2013. So since 2013, the groups have not changed. And even in 2007 and 2003, the groups are still the same, only the functions may vary. So these functions may vary according to the versions which you are using, but as you are using the latest and greatest version, that's totally fine with us. We can just move ahead. Now with this, we also have something called as file. Now file is it's not just a menu, but rather it's a menu bar itself. So when you click file, it will take you to a menu bar where this menu bar has so many menus in it. So file option is not a menu. Remember, file itself is a menu bar toggling option. So when you click, it will toggle up the menu bar, and this menu bar will have functionality behind the Excel. So whatever we are doing in front of the Excel, it's here. But whenever we want to do something which is behind the Excel, like changing the settings, like changing how the function works, fonts, how do you want this to be, how do you want to export this file and everything. So you'll be going to file and you will be doing that here. More into it, I will come to in the later sections. But for now, it's used for added functionality to your Excel at the back end. So in your front end, you will be using this interface, and for your back end, you will be using the file interface. So in your file, you have these two options which will be majorly used. The one is save as option, which is here. When you click this, you will be saving this to something else. Like for instance, you want you want this file to be saved in as a PDF file, then you can do that by clicking this PC, by double clicking this PC, and then selecting any of your locations from your right hand side panel. Like for instance, I want this to be saved in desktop. I will be clicking desktop, and when I do so, then it will show me what kind of file do you want this to be saved. So I'll select PDF, I can select CSF, I can select formatted text, I can select anything I like. So all these extensions are available in Excel. You can export your file with these different
File formats.
formats. So that being said, we also have the print option in which you can print a document. So that I will come to that later. We have share, in which you can share that specific file with anyone who is using Outlook account. Like for instance, I'm using Outlook account. You can see that my name and at the rate outlook.com. So I can share this with any of my friends and family members through my Outlook account who also happen to have Outlook account with them. To the
Yes.
export file, we can use this to in order to create presentations and to create PDFs. For instance, you are having this beautiful chart which you have created and which you have worked for overnight, and then you want this to be represented in a PDF. Now, whenever you are trying to print this out, it may not be evident that it will not come in a very perfect manner. So for that reason, what you will do is you will select the file, you will just select export, and you will be exporting this to an PDF or XPS document, and then you can use that as a hard copy while you're presenting. So this is an added functionality in Excel. You can also do that. Either way,
Um,
you can also print this out in a different way, and I will be showing you how you'll be printing that out as well. You will have option.
can't we save it as PDF
Yes.
using the save as and the print function as well?
Yes, of course, you can. But with the share option, you will have one more functionality. Sorry, with the export option, you will have one more functionality to exporting this in as an XPS document. Now, why do we use XPS document? Is when you are creating this PDF file and you want to make this file visible on the internet, then it might not be possible, because whenever I'm sending this file in the internet, the people needs to download the file first and then they can't see this thing on the go. Like for instance, if I'm sending you a file which is in PDF, then you won't be able to view it unless and until you download it either in WhatsApp or anywhere. But with the XPS document, if I send it, you can see the document in the browser itself. So it will be as if the mail has not attachment attached to it, but rather the mail itself is the document. I hope that clears the doubt.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that being said, coming to the next section, let me just go back to where I was. I think, yeah. So in this section, we have, this was about the tabs and stuff. Now this tab, which you can see, this is the name box. Now the reason why we call this as name box is it stores the address of the cells. So all these cells are, just imagine that all these cells are a big colony of homes being stacked together. So this, like for instance, if we are living, let me just write down this. So Matt, where does Matt lives? Matt lives in the F colony in the 8th villa. So it's like this. So he lives in F colony and in 8th villa. So how can I say this? So I can say this by saying he lives in F column and 8th row. So this the horizontal line, which you can see, the horizontal classification of the cells is known as rows, and the vertical the vertical classification of the cells are being known as columns. So the as it this is vertical, these are columns, and columns are represented by names. The names, it can be string A B C D E F G. It can be A B A C A D, and it will further move ahead. So this here is usually represented. The columns here are usually represented by letters, and rows are commonly represented by numbers. So whenever you are selecting any of the cells, like for instance, where is Matt? So the Matt is in F8, F column, 8th row. That's what it means. If this name section or this name box is also used to give certain cells name as well. Like for instance, you want to select a range. Range is nothing but a group of cells. If I select this range and I can name this range something, like I can just write, literally I can write something underscore one, just to give this add some more added functionality. And when I do that, no matter where I am, if I just write that something underscore one, it will take me back to the same place. So this name box is used not only for finding the address of the cells, but also to give range names and to use them in your calculations or whichever wherever you like. For instance, you can also use added functionality with these name ranges. For instance, if I select these name ranges, if I select these range, and then if I give this calculation, a name of calculation, and then if I want to calculate these three, if I want to do the summing of it, so I can do sum of what? Of calculation. So here Excel will interpret, whenever I write calculation, it will interpret, oh, okay, fine. You have given the name for these three cells combined together. So therefore we will do the summing for these three cells. Similarly, if you want to do the product of it, I'll just do the product of it as well. And then I will just write calculation. So here it will give me the product of the three cells. So it works in such way that it will give you the name ranges. It will you can name a range by your own, and you can use it in your formulas. You can use it to jump through different sections to sections. You can use it basically in as an address locator for you to find yourself in an easy way to switch workspaces. Now this is the first workspace. You want to go to absolute reference, you can just give this range a name, and then when you want to go there, you don't need to find this in your tabs. You can just directly write here, and then you will be directly taken to that specific workspace. So this is how you will be using the name box. So that's just an introduction about the name box. We have the next, formula bar. In your formula bar, you will find this formula bar to be very tricky. So let me just explain you what this is. Formula bar shows the true identity of the cell. Whatever you see on the cell, this is not the true identity. Like for instance, 355. 355 is not 355. If you go to the formula bar, you can see the true identity of the cell. It's actually 355 is actually the disguise of sum and this formula. So this formula, when it's executed, then this value is being shown up. So this value is not actually a value, but rather it's just a disguise of this formula. So when you press enter, so this formula is being represented in this value. Now, to give you a better example for this, I will just write down something here. Let me write down something which can be which can be considered to be very secret. Let's go with this. Let's say that ghosts are real. So that's more like a controversial statement. So ghosts are real. I'll just say that ghosts are real. And then what I will do is I can hide this totally. So this cell, just to explain you that this is not the actual value of what you can see in it, but rather the actual value is represented in here. I will just go ahead and I will just hide it. How do I hide it? It's just an extra step which I'll be doing it. Don't worry, I will still be showing you how to do it. It's by right clicking, going to the format cells, and then selecting custom. In this, you need to cut off the general and write 3 semicolons. And when you do that, you will see that your ghosts are real are now vanished. It just disappeared, but it's still there. How? You can see when you select the cell, you can still see the ghosts are real being shown, but here it doesn't show. So the same way, the cell itself has hidden itself because we have given some functionality at the back end of the Excel so that it doesn't show the actual value. So what
Will
you
that come
see,
up in Control F?
sorry?
Will Ghost Ariel
Yes,
come
yes,
up
yes.
in Control F?
Yes, it will come definitely. But the only problem is that you won't be able to see it. You can only see it when you are
Okay.
seeing it from here. in the function bar. So it will still be visible, it's still there itself, but the computer will interpret this as an it will interpret this as a non-existent or a null value when you try to give three semicolons.
Semicolon.
Yes, and then it will interpret this as a null value, and it doesn't allow you to show. It doesn't allow itself to show what are the contents in that specific cell. So it's still there. It has all the functionalities in it as well, but it won't allow you to see it by looking at it. So therefore, the true value of the cell is not on what you see, but rather what you see in your formula bar. So that was about the formula, but let me just quickly get this back to normal by clicking Format Cells, writing this into General, and then press Enter. So that was about the formula bar. Now coming to let's go with these functions as well. So we have basics, tabs and groups, editing, formatting, relative reference, absolute reference, mixed reference, and so forth. So we have all these sheets. We call them as sheets. So this is the first sheet, this is the second sheet, third sheet, fourth sheet, and so forth. You can navigate through sheets by clicking on them, or you can also do it by clicking on this button. So this button will allow you to navigate through many sheets if there are any, or you can just navigate through them all by just right clicking them. You can also see that if I bring my cursor above this, just a second, miss. I believe that my internet connection is showing unstable. Just a second, let me just check.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I think my internet connection is a bit unstable, but never mind. If you see any stutter or any lag in my voice, please do let me know so that I
Sure.
can. Yes. Now, with this thing in mind, if I just right click here, you can see all the sheets which are available in the Excel. So in this specific
Is it
workbook,
right click?
yes, it's right click. So if you right click here, you can also know this by just hovering your mouse above it. When you hover your mouse
Okay.
above it, you will see that left click to scroll to the last sheet, or right click to see all sheets. So if you just right click here, you can see all the sheets which are there available in that specific workbook. So this is your workbook. This workbook will have all these sheets in them. So it's like this. We have a book in which we have plenty of pages. So each page here represents a worksheet, and the whole pages combined together. Oh, sorry, all the pages combined together is known as book here. So workbook, and that's worksheet.
Okay.
Now, if I want to navigate through any of them, I can just double click and it will take me to that specific sheet. I can right click, I can double click on any of that specific sheet, and that specific sheet will be shown and I will be taken over it. Now, if I want to go to the last sheet, I can still do it by just dragging this and just going to the last sheet itself directly. Or else I can just select and I can go to the first sheet itself by doing so. So we have this added functionality of going back and forth through many sheets without compromising our time by just right clicking here, and then we can go back and forth through any of the sheets. So that was about the basics and the basic structure of your layout. Coming to the next, viewing layouts. So there are three viewing layouts in Excel. The first one being normal, which you can see right now. The next one is the page layout. When you click the page layout, what happens is that it will take you to the page layout, in which it will give you a normalized representation of how this would look if you are trying to print the paper, if you are trying to print this document or this workbook in an A4 sheet. So if you're trying to print this in an A4 sheet, then how would your pages look like? So if that is the question, then this is your probable answer. So when you click this page layout, it will show you all the necessary information. It will show you the layout, how it looks, how does it feel, and everything. So all these things are combined in this section itself. So when you click page layout, it will show you the header footer section, in which you can change how it looks. You can just modify the document so as to print this in a proper way in your A4 page. So this was your page layout section. We have one more layout section. We call this as print layout. So what print layout does is same as what we have done before, but it will allow you to choose the size in the page. For instance, I want only in my first page of print, I want only these sections to be shown and not anything else. So I can just press and drag this here, and I can press this, drag this here, so as to make my first page visible for only this section. Now in the second page, if I want this to be continuing to the second page, I can just bring this down so that I can see this again division. This division is for page 2. I can press this and I can bring it down. So this is for page 2. So now you can see that page 1 contains only this part, page 2 contains this part, page 3 contains this part, page 4 contains this part. You can change this either way. You can change it like this. It depends on you. How do you want this to be? If you want this to be in a proper way, you can just change it. And if you don't want this to be there, you can just undo it by just pressing Ctrl Z. So when you press Ctrl Z, it will just undo itself and it will bring it back to normal by using Ctrl Z or by undoing it. So that's how you will be using your print layout section in order to see what it looks like before printing itself. So that was about the layouts. So with the layouts, you also have this slider which will zoom in and zoom out of the document. If you try to press plus, it will zoom in. If you try to press minus, it will zoom out in simple way. So that's how the zoom in and zoom out usually specifically works. Now coming to the tabs and groups. Now the tabs and groups, I have explained that you just need to right click and then you can select any of the sheet, and when you press OK, it will directly take you to that specific sheet. As it's an introduction class, I will be walking you through the things which you are specifically learning in this course. Rather than directly jumping into the topics, I would rather just explain you the things which you will be learning, and then I will start so that you can get the brief idea on what exactly you're going to learn. So the first thing we'll be learning is formatting, how we will be formatting the cells and what are the options to format a cell. Formatting a cell in a broader way is known as uh, just changing the attributes of the cells so that they match your needs. It's like this: if you are creating a sheet in which you want to add green color to the cells, all the cells should be in green color. That means you are formatting the cell. You are changing its core appearance. You are changing its core behavior. So you are changing all these kinds of things. That's why you are saying formatting. Formatting is not something to clean up. It's like we have this norm of saying formatting the pen drive, format the pen drive and do that. Formatting is nothing but changing the structure itself. So if you're changing the structure, that's formatting. If you're formatting the CD, that means you're changing the data in it. If you're formatting if you're formatting a pen drive, that means you're changing the data in the pen drive. So formatting means changing the attributes itself so that it becomes new or it becomes something else than what it was original before. So we'll be coming to formatting and we'll be walking through the styles. I'll be showing you how to create styles, new styles, and how to go through all these styles, how you can merge cells, how you can wrap text and everything. So all these alignment functions we'll be learning in this. Coming to the relative reference, we'll be learning the basic functionality of how the relations work in Excel. It's like this: if you are giving one relation and then you're just dragging it down, then everything will follow. It's like this. I have this simple example of of a stored expense and revenue sheet in which in this January he had the revenue made of 1 2 3 4 and expenses of 1 2 3. So the remaining amount would be the revenue minus the expense. For certain reasons, it will be revenue minus the expense. Now you see that what happens when I'm pressing equals. So when I'm pressing equals, the computer will allow me to select the cells. If I don't press equals, whenever I click somewhere, it will take me to that specific cell. So if I click equals, then the section of choosing is getting triggered inside Excel. So Excel will trigger itself, and it will say that, okay, fine, I'm ready. Please go ahead and select the cells. Now this specific time, I will be selecting the cells like this, remaining time. So remaining is, sorry, not remaining time. Remaining is nothing but the revenue minus the expense, and then press enter. So this is what the remaining value is. So I have just given the relation that this cell minus this cell is what I want in this cell. And once I do that, and then when I try to drag this down, it will automatically add the same thing to the remaining cells. Now you can see that the relation is also going down. As I'm moving down, the relation is also going down. You can see as I'm going down, the relation is also going down.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Got
Miss, can
cut
you hear
in
me?
between.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me just explain that real quick. So whenever I'm just selecting this, whenever I'm selecting, you can see that the relation, as I'm going down, the relation is also going down. So the third cell will have a relation between the third sections of revenue and expense. Fourth cell will have the fourth section of revenue and expense. So all these relations are correlated. When you are dragging them down, all relations are also coming down as they are following down. So that was with regard to relative reference. In the absolute reference, we will be walking you through how to use the same thing, but by locking the cells. We will be using this locking method in order to do the bidding. Like for instance, what do you mean by locking is this? You have the tax of 20% GST being added by the government officials, and you have to comply with it. Now, while you are trying to sort out taxes, you want to calculate how much tax would you be paying in order to sort this 20% GST in your daily life. So if that is the case, how will you calculate the 20% of the whole things here? I can rather go with this multiplied by 20%, but this is not sophisticated, but nor it is professional, because your formula should not be depending on the cells themselves, but rather they should be depending on the reference. What do I mean by that? Is when I change a certain value, I don't need to change the same thing all over again to different multiple cells. I should try to give them reference so that if I change one specific cell, the all related documents or all related
Hello?
cells with regard to, hello,
Hello?
hello, yes, Miss, can you hear me? Is my voice dropping?
Yeah. Hello? Yeah.
Hello, hello, yeah,
Yeah, and just for a couple of seconds.
yes,
Hello?
hello,
You can
Miss.
hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Hi.
yeah. Okay, so I think there is a lag in the my
Yep.
voice reaching you. So what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
your voice is dropping in between for a couple of seconds. I got
Okay.
what you said, and we
Mhm.
have to calculate the tax on the
Yeah.
total amount. That's what I got. If
Okay.
you're talking about absolute reference here, I know we have to put the dollar sign
Yes.
on the GST value so that when you drag down, the GST does not change.
Very well. Very well. Yes, exactly. So that was about the absolute reference. So then with the same thing, we have the mixed reference. In here, we will be using the same dollar sign, but to our own need. Now, in this case, we will be learning on how we will be locking the cells from one space, and then we'll be dragging it to the others. You'll just dragging this to the other way, so that you will be coming to know how to do multiplication in a very simple manner. So it's like this. We have these cells with us right now, and I want to create this multiplication table in which it has all the values written down in it. So like for instance, I want this to happen. 1 multiplied by 10, the value should be shown here. 1 multiplied by 20, the value should be shown here. 1 multiplied by 30, the value should be showing here, and so forth. Same way, it should be doing the same for the second value as well. 2 multiplied by 10, 2 multiplied by 20, 2 multiplied by 30, and so forth. So if we want this to happen, we can do this real quick by pressing equals and then writing down the formula, this multiplied by this. In here, there is a sweet trick. That sweet trick is that I will be locking this specific row in my, I'll be just locking not the specific row, I will be locking this specific column for my first column and this specific row for my eighth row. Why I'm doing that is because I want this reference. Now you see that what happens with the reference is that whenever I'm trying this and whenever I'm trying to move this to the right hand side, you can see that this reference is being shown here, but when I click here, the reference is changing. The reference is moving to the right hand side. So with the right hand side, I don't want this to be moving to the right hand side. I just want this section reference to be moving to the right hand side, but not this. This should stay here itself. It should rather move down and up, but it should not be moving to the sides. So therefore, I can just do this sweet trick of locking only the column. Rather than the cell itself, I'll just be locking the column so that it doesn't change its column whenever I'm moving to the right hand side. Now you see, if I'm trying to move this to the right hand side, now you can see that the values are correct. But if I check the reference, it's working fine. So this is staying there itself, and this value, this reference is changing. So this is well and fine. With this in mind, we will be selecting this, and now I will be just dragging this down so as to get all the values for 16. But this will not work. Why? Because the reference is moving down. You can see that this reference is moving down. Why is this reference moving down? Because the row is not locked. So therefore, I will just go back to my first cell and I will lock the row of it. So here I have locked the column, and here I will just lock the row of it. And once I do that, if I just drag this down, it should probably give me all the values. So this is how you will be this is how you'll be using the mixed reference for your own comfort, and this is how the logic works for locking the cell. So dollar sign is not only used for locking cell itself, but rather column or specific row as well, by just writing dollar behind a row number or writing a dollar behind the column name. All
Okay.
right. We have speak cells. So in the speak cells, I will be showing you how you will be adding the speak cells section from going to the quick access toolbar, selecting more commands, and then going to all commands. And from all commands, you will be just adding the speak cells option. And through the speak cells option, you will be asking computer to narrate itself for you. So if I just go with speak cells, let me just go right here. And then if I just add them up, let me just show you a brief demo, and then I can just explain you what it is.
Steps. Steps. Step 1. Select the quick access toolbar.
So here I have selected this, the speak cells, and the same speak cells are being represented here in this. So the same
Yes.
speak cells, whenever I'm just clicking the cells, and when I play this by clicking this speak cells option, it will narrate itself. So this is just a handy tool which is there to help you sort if you're working on a data and on a database, and you are very much tired by just going through that database, and you just want this to someone to narrate that data to you so that you can just cross check with your document. You can just go with this with this speak cells.
Okay.
Now coming to the text to columns. Now in text to columns, I will show you how you will be specifying. Now then again, I'm just going through this briefly. I'm not going through in depth. It's just an introduction class. I'm just walking you through all the things which you are going to learn. So we have some extensions and we have some phone numbers. We will be learning how to merge them, and we'll be learning how to separate them without using much of the deal. If these are the numbers, if let me just show it to you. I think if these are the numbers, how can we separate them? How can we separate them so that we have the extensions in one column and the numbers in the next column? If not, how can we merge them? If this is our number, if this is how it looks, how can we merge them to make it as this? So that's also we will be learning by using concatenate function, and here we will be using the text to columns function. Then the comments, it's something which you already know. It's review. You just go to review, add a new comment, and you'll be adding more comments to it. You can also add comment by using a functionality of a shortcut, that is Shift F2. And then when you do it, you will be having this comment section. Same way,
We can
paste
also do
specials.
right click, right?
Sorry.
We can also do right click,
Yes, you can
add
also do
comment,
right
right?
click. Yes, you can also do right click and select insert comment for that. But in some cases, if you don't have a mouse, then you won't be able to do this. So for that reason, you need to know the shortcut of using Shift and F2. It's a better way of doing it.
Okay.
Yes. And then we will be using paste special. In the paste special, I will be showing you some more functionality on the clipboard. Like for instance, you may have come across this. If you want to copy different three different values and you want to paste them somewhere else, but you don't want to go back and forth again and again. Like for instance, I want to copy this, this, and this value, and I want to paste them in three separate ways in advance or something else. So I can't do that by just copying. If I just use copy and if I use paste, then it will be copying and pasting all three at once. I don't want all three at once to be there. I want one each to be placed, and they should be placed in different locations. So if I want that to happen, then I need to use something called as clipboard here. So in your clipboard, whenever I'm trying to copy something, let me just clear this out. Whenever I'm trying to copy something, you can see that that is being added to my clipboard option. So after all these things are added, I can go anywhere and I can specifically allot that specific copied value to that specific cell, like this. So we can use this clipboard just by using this. We can add to the clipboard, we can add elements to the clipboard, and we can use those elements and we can just paste them all along. So
Can we
it's a
paste
very,
them
yes,
multiple times, or
yes, you
is it
can paste
only?
them multiple times as well. For instance, if I'm just copying these two, let me just open up the clipboard. If I'm copying these three values, and if I want to paste them multiple times here, I can just click, click, click. So click, 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 like that.
Okay.
So you can paste this like that way, or you can just select them, and you can just drag them like so.
Okay.
If you just want to quickly add these values.
Okay.
So that being said, that was about the using of clipboard. And with the clipboard itself, you will have added functionality of using paste. Now, paste is not only used for copying and pasting cells, but it's also used for doing calculations. You can also use it for multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. You will also be using it for formulas, values, formats, and other things. I'll be coming to that in our future classes. In the paste special is also used for transposing a cell. If you're using transpose and then clicking OK, it will try to transpose whatever it is on this specific cell column, and it will try to transfer it. It will try to transform it into different rows. Then we have shifting cells or transposing. The same way I have told you, you can convert this column into a row by copying and pasting it, of course. But at the same way, you can also use a specific function called as transform function. Sorry, transpose function. So you'll be using the transpose function and you'll be selecting the array. And then when you press that, it will give you all the values for that specific thing in here. I didn't do that really well, so let me just do that again. Transpose, select the array, and there you go. So when you do that, you will have all the values here. But the reason why I'm using the transpose function is because of this. If I change any of here, if I change any name here, the name will also be changing here. But at the same time, if I'm just copying and pasting, the values will not change. If I'm using the formula, then the values, whichever I'm changing to the original array, that will also be reflected to the value which you have used to transpose.
All
So
right.
that's
So when
something.
we're using the
Yes.
formula equal to transpose, we first select the cells, the whole
Yes,
row,
the whole
and then
row.
we paste.
It's like this.
Okay.
Let me explain that to you again. So it's like this. By the way, it's just a briefing. It's not the complete tutorial. So it's
Okay.
just I'm just giving you a briefing over it. So if you want me to explain that
Okay.
again, I'll just select the cells. First, I'm selecting the same length of column, the cells, the same length of cells which are there in column. I'll be using it for the same row. After that, I'll be selecting equals. While I'm highlighted all the cells, I'll be pressing equals. And then here I will be writing transpose.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I will be selecting the cells. And then while pressing enter, I should not press enter. I should be pressing Control Shift Enter. So when you press Control Shift Enter, then you can get all the values in here. There are some more added functionalities to this. Don't worry about it. I will just come to it as we are progressing through our course.
No
Then,
problem.
yes. And then we will be coming to using multiple sheets at once. Like for instance, have you, this might have occurred to you in your mind that I wish that I had this power of using 2 or 3 sheets all at once. By in one sheet, I want to use flash fill, and one sheet you need to use custom fills, and then you need to go to using multiple sheets, and you want to see all these sheets in one viewport itself. So if you want to see all of them in one viewport, then you can use it by going to view, clicking new window. I'm just going to create some new windows here. So this new window will create the same version, the window for the same version for the rest of, uh, you can see that there are the same intermediate to advanced, there are 4 versions of this created.
Yes.
So this, I will try to view them all together by clicking view, selecting arrange all, and then clicking OK. So what happens is all the sheets which are active, they are now classified into a cascade, and then I can use them all, each one by one. I can view them in a different way as well. In this sheet, it's flash fill. In this sheet, I can go with viewing sheets. In this sheet, I can go with custom views, and in this sheet, I can go with something else. So
So,
y-
when you
yes,
say active sheets, you
yes.
selected them first and then view arrange all.
Yes, you don't need to select them. You just need to click view and then click arrange all. If you,
Oh,
however, if you're using different workbooks, now this is with regard to the same workbook. For the same workbook, you don't need to select any of them. You just need to click arrange all, and then automatically they will be arranged because they are of same workbook.
yeah. But my question is, how does Excel know that I only need four
You can
view?
use
Can I
five as
increase
well.
this?
You can
Okay.
use five as well. You can use five, six, however you like. It depends on the screen. As my screen is small, I'm using four for this specific reference. You can also go with five. If you're going with five, then this is how it will look like.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. You can go with six, seven, eight. It depends on the screen which you are using. If the screen is big enough, then you can allot 5 to 6 ports in your viewport, and you can just go through it. You can manage it.
Okay.
Yes. So this is about how you'll be using this viewing sheet. But just let me just select them. Now, what happens is that whenever I change something in the one sheet, the same way, all the other things are also be changing. If I go to this flash fill and if I change something here,
Hello.
hello, yes, sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. So whenever you are here in this specific, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. So when you select that specific cell and when you try to change it, like for instance, like this, if I'm writing this good in flash fill, if I go here, I can still see that good, whichever I have written down. That means they are all in the same book itself, but now you are using multiple sheets in order to do your work more efficiently.
Okay.
So when you close this all sheets down, then too you will have your one sheet active, which will have all the saved things which are there for your different sheets, which you have
Um.
done for the different sheets.
Okay. One question on that.
Yes.
So when you have two
Hmm.
viewports, I guess.
Yes.
So when can you copy one cell
Yes.
other viewport?
Yes, of course. Why not? Let's do that and see. Let me just add 4, 1, 2, and 3. So once you have selected this, it's not only for the same sheet. You can also use this for multiple sheets as well. Sorry,
Mhm.
not only for one workbook. You can use it for multiple workbooks as well. Like for your question was like this: in viewing sheets, if you copy, will you be able to paste it in flash fill? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can also paste this, and you can do, it's the same functionality as you're using normal Excel. Even you can give formulas as well in this formula, if you like. You want to do this, let me just go to custom views. Um okay, let me just go here to using multiple sheets, and let me just write down some random value 15. I'll go here and I'll just write down in my flash fill random value 50. And in my viewing sheets, yeah, this is a different sheet. I will just write down here 30. Now in this sheet, which is advanced fill with formatting, in this sheet, I want to take this plus this plus this. I want to do the calculation. I can still do it. Equals this plus this plus this. And then when you hit enter, it will still show you the value. And now whenever something changes in that specific sheet, the else sheet will also be, it will also be related and it will also change the value. If I change here 90, the
Mm-hmm.
value will also be changing here.
Okay.
Yes, that's how simple it is. If it's 50,
Okay.
the value is also changing here.
Okay. Got it.
Yes. So this is how it works. All right. So that was with regard to the using multiple sheets. And then we'll come to filters. So filters are nothing but this is how you'll be using it. You'll be just selecting the cells or range, and then you'll be pressing Control Shift and L to add filters. At the same way, you can also add slicers. Let me just show you that real quick. So this is your range, for instance. I'll just set this here. So this is your range here, for instance. So this range has month, revenue, and expenses. So with these in mind, I want to create table for this range. That means I want to convert this range into a table. So how can I do that is by selecting the cells or range, pressing Control T, and then when you press Control T, you'll have create table option. Here it's asking you to create table. I will click OK. Now as also selected, my table has headers and everything I've checked. So I'll just click OK. Now you can see that this specific range is now converted into a table. So this is not a necessary step to do, but it's necessary when you are trying to add slicers. If you're not adding slicers, you can just press Control Shift L to add filters, and through that you can use the filters. You already know what filters is. So
Yes.
filters is something which doesn't allow you to add more functionality, but with slicers you can have this added advantage, which I'll show you now. So you have seen that before in my dashboard. I have seen that through the slicers themselves, I've used them to show you the data with regard to that specific date and time. The
Mm-hmm.
same way, we can use it here in order to do it. We have selected the range, and now instead of creating the filters, we'll be creating a table itself. So how do you create a table is by pressing Control T, T for table. So Control T and then clicking OK. Once it's created, you can go to Design tab. Now you can see that there is no Design tab viewing up here, but when I click inside, the new Design tab is showing up. So the design tab is only available for the table. If you are creating a table, then only the design tab will be visible.
Mm-hmm.
So in your design tab, which you can see here, we have a function called as insert slicer. So you can just click insert slicer. And now in this, you can add any of the slicers for any of this. It's like using filters itself, but in a graphical way. If I go to month and click OK, you can see that
This is only available for 2019 and 365, right?
no, it's also available for 2013. It's starting
Okay.
from 2013 and onwards.
Okay.
Yes. So this section, when you click here, that gives you added functionality of using filters, and through that, when you click any specific thing, it shows that using filters. But by using this, the added functionality of using the slicers is that you can use this to add multiple tables, which I've shown you in the earlier example. When you click that, you will see that all the things which are beside that changes according to the selection which you have selected.
Okay. So basically, the slicer is like a filter.
Yes, it's like a filter, but that is applied not only to one table, it can be applied to many tables at once.
Okay.
Like for instance, let me just give you an example. Maybe you might be getting confused with this, so I'll just try to give you another example for this. All right. So here we have, in this section, you can see that these are slicers. So if I click one, it's not only changing one specific thing, but rather it's changing everything else in existence. So
Mm-hmm.
all these things which are there existing, they are changing just because I've been selecting this one filter. At the same time, if I use filter, it will only apply for one specific thing only, one specific element only. If I'm using filters, it will apply only for pie chart, or it will be only applied for line chart, or it will be applied for bar chart. But if I'm using slicers, if I click something, it will be applied for everything else which are there on the screen or on the viewport. So this added functionality is available only for slicers. That's why we use slicers and not filters when we are dealing with financial modeling.
Okay.
So this is just like filters, but it won't be, but this has an added functionality of not only filtering one specific table, but multiple tables like these at once, all at once. So that's the difference between filter and slicer. Then we'll be coming to the headers and footer option, in which I'll be showing you how to modify the headers and footers while you're printing out. Then we'll be coming to logical operators. In this, I'll be just walking you through the basics of logical operations. Then we'll be coming to the if function, in which we'll be learning the basic functionality of if. Nested if, in which we'll be learning if, not only if, but how we will be using this logic operation within if and create some cool functions like showing marks of specific person. If someone scores 25, he will fail. If someone scores 45, he will be passing up. If someone scores 85, he will get distinction. So how we can set this up, we'll be getting to know. And with your and, we will be using the same functionality with this, but we add some more functions in order to show that they have failed, or they have not, their marks are not valid. So you can see here, it's invalid here. It's showing because it's 100. Let me just change this 10. It's fail, 50, passed, 85, distinction. And if I go with 101, it says invalid.
Okay.
So this is how you'll be using AND function. I'll be coming to that as well, and OR functions, to give you more added functionality of how you'll be using if. Then we have if error. If error is not that great function, but it's used with other functions to get more added benefits. Adding auditing tools. In auditing tools, I will be showing you how you'll be using the calculations and how Excel interprets formulas. Text functions, I'll be showing you all functions with regard to text. With date functions, we'll be showing you the date and time, how you can add in the login time, how you can calculate date, how you can work around with dates and time functions.
Mhm.
Date functions in advanced way, how you can use date functions in order to calculate the net working days for people. You can use the ultra advanced date functions in order to show the difference, the date, the specific date, time, month, how many days you have lived so far with your birthday being specified, and we can just calculate how many years, how many months, how many days have you been living, and so forth. So we have all these functions, these pinpoint accuracy, detailing, and calculations with these ultra advanced date functions. Then I'll be showing you how you can go through navigating sheets in an advanced way. Then comes the advanced auditing functions. We have some if with wildcards as well, some ifs and so forth. Then we'll be coming to VLOOKUP. Then we look up with approximate match. We look up with trim. HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP is nothing but the VLOOKUP itself, but H is horizontal, V is vertical. Then we'll come to the lookup. It's the combination of both vertical and horizontal lookup. Then we'll come to advanced VLOOKUP, in which when you change that title, it will give you that specific thing. Like for instance, here I want products bag. I want the quantity to be shown here. So I can just write the quantity. And when I do that, it will show me the quantity. Here, instead of quantity, I want price. So when I type price, it will show me the price. So we'll also be coming to advanced VLOOKUP, how we'll be doing that. Data sorting, how we can sort the data. Creating simple tables. Now here I'll be showing you how to create tables. Creating complex tables with your Excel sheet. Creating reports and creating and generating reports of the same sheet which we have been working on. Then we will be having sales subtotal, subtotaling, and sales grouping, column chart, bar chart, pie chart, and so forth. And then finally, we'll be coming to this, in which I'll show you how to create all this with just the raw data. You will just be given this raw data, and with this raw data, how you will be using all this data, and then you'll be using this in order to create this. So from scratch, I will show you how this works, how you can copy this data, and how you can change this to this. So we'll be walking you through all of them. So these are all the things which you'll be learning through course. And this was your introduction for today's class. I hope you have enjoyed it. You must have any, if you have any more questions, you can just ask me. I can help you out with
Yeah. So far, nothing.
that.
I'd like to get the answers
Yes.
while the discussion is going on rather than towards
Yeah.
the end, because normally I forget by the end of the class.
Yes, yes,
So,
that's true.
so
I,
I hope that's okay with you.
that's totally fine. That's totally fine. No worries.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it only me who's going to be in this class, like a one-on-one?
Yes. I believe Mr. Fran has mentioned me that it's a private class, and
Okay.
it would be only you.
Okay. 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 Fine.
Yes.
So he said it's going to be Sunday and Wednesday, 1 to 3.
Yes. Yes. Precisely.
Okay. 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 And it's going to be the same meeting link, or are you going to
It
be
would
there?
be a different meeting link because I have back-to-back classes, so there will be meeting links changing all every hour. So
Okay.
yeah, because of that reason, I'll be generating a new link and I'll be sending it to you.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this recording, I will be sending it to you mostly by today evening or tomorrow morning.
Okay. You can send. You're going to send me the link
Yes,
on
the
WhatsApp,
link
right?
on
In the
YouTube.
group.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
All
Cool.
right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.